Hi. We're all very excited tonight. We've been working on this for a while, totally written by the women that you will see, and all old friends from our synagogue here, all family. So it's in 3 parts. It's about 20 minutes. It only runs about 20 minutes, but it's in 3 parts. I just want to mention the first part is called "The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Shul." The second part is called "Okay, I'm a Jewish Mother." And the third part is a surprise. So here we go. I'm very, very proud to introduce the women who breathe, are aware, and are pure joy to hang around with. Thanks.
Sharing our feelings with intimate rhymes. These are a few of my favorite times. When it's COVID and aloneness and I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my acting class, and then I don't feel so bad.
A funny thing happened on my way to the shul. I found myself in this acting class. Actually, I met with Rabbi Jonathan, who began our meeting by saying these wonderful words. "Maxine, what do you want?" I said I wanted a theater class. And he said, "Great, go for it." That was 6 years ago.
Something stupendous, something courageous, something so wonderful in acting class tonight. Open your mouth, follow your breath. Let your spirit do all the rest. You'll find it's very extraordinary. Breathing, awareness, and joy. Right here in our acting class tonight.
Oops. Oh, I made it a goal to step out of my comfort zone. At first, I refused to sing. I had always been tapped on the shoulder and told to sit down whenever there were auditions. Nonsense! Everyone can sing.
A funny thing happened on the way to the shul. I joined an acting class. Actually, the only reason I joined the class was that because of COVID, I couldn't go to the Bard Symphonic Chorus rehearsals on Tuesday night, and Carol decided to offer the class on Zoom. I was craving relationship, contact with someone other than my husband, contact less formal than services or an academic class. I was looking for an opportunity to get out of my analytic head and express my feelings.
Breathe. Breathe with your mouth open. Just keep your mouth open. Suddenly, I forget how to swallow. My mouth is bone dry. We laugh a lot. I gasp for air and finally figure out how to swallow. I laugh more than I've ever laughed in my entire life, all wrapped up together.
I found myself in this acting class. Was it a dream or an alternate reality? Was my life now becoming a comedy or a true adventure? I could become whomever or whatever I wanted to be, big or little, Sarah or Leah, Isaac or Joseph. I could be the queen or the pharaoh. My dreams always included the footlights, and now I finally have the opportunity to become, or at least start becoming, the star energy that lives inside me.
I felt comfortable last week actually getting up and dancing and singing a Beatles song. It's been a hard day's night and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log.
Well, you know, in my case, I think it was more on the way to an acting class, I found myself in a shul. When we met in person, I used to love to look at the quilt on the bima. The colors and the variety of the squares always captivated me. But the patchwork we are on Zoom has taken its place and is now the fascinating, familiar, colorful quilt. And the lesson to look at each other and really see is a lesson I will always keep.
Breathing, awareness, and joy for 4 sessions. Sounded right up my alley. I arrived at the first class to discover that this was an ongoing acting class. Not for me, I realized. I didn't want to disturb the class and explain my mistake, so I decided to sit quietly and write a note later. I would explain my mistake and tell people that I wouldn't be back. Much to my surprise, I discovered this was not a typical acting class. By the end of the first session, I was totally hooked. In the class, we learn how to use our breath to stay present in the moment and experience our feelings. We focus on being authentic, letting go of emotional blocks, and enjoying our experience. These tools are useful for life and living. This is one of the best mistakes I have ever made.
As I began to attend online services, I became involved with virtual synagogue life. That is how I came to learn about this class, which in a sense feels like a vital organ of the synagogue. The lungs, perhaps? The focus of this class, after all, is breathing awareness, with Rabbi Jonathan being the heart.
I felt as if I had come home. I even love my singing voice, which is truly a miracle. We have become like a family, and on Zoom, our group feels even more closely connected. When it's COVID and aloneness, and I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my acting class, and then I don't feel so bad.
Love it.
My Yiddish mama, I need her more than ever now. My Yiddish mama, I'd like to kiss that wrinkled brow. I long to hold her hands once more, as in days gone by, and ask her to forgive me for things I did that made her cry. In Wasser und Feuer, wird sie gelaufen, Feierkind. Nicht halten sich teuer, das wird gewähnt, der größte Sinn. Oi, wie glücklich und reich ist der Mensch, was hat, als a schöne Matone, geschenkt von Gott, als a altitschke jüdische Mame, Mame, oi Mame, mine.
Okay, so I am a Jewish mother. That is my right and that is my privilege. Does that make you think of Jewish guilt or cooking pot roast? Mine is always the best. Potato latkes and sour cream, maybe some herring and bagels and lox on Sunday mornings.
I have a fearless child who has grazed the floor of the Hudson River in a dive, who does aerial ski jumps above ice, rock, and snow. And oh gosh, all I have said to him about he goes unheeded. So I guess I am a bit of a Jewish mother, or I wasn't enough of one. I'm not sure. Angels protect. I am afraid for you. I will make soup for you. Okay, I am a mother.
Ironically, each of my grandchildren had a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. My younger daughter had her own bat mitzvah in her 40s. So I guess Judaism thrives even without being promoted by mother.
Darling, remember, love is a verb. I will not tell you how to live or who to love. Bubala, if I could, I would take away all the pain and the sorrow you will experience in your life. I will always be there in spirit. Just check your soul, and the beautiful, loving, caring mother you always needed is with you, my Shana Medela.
Not too long ago, I was at my daughter's farm and went in to collect eggs in the chicken coop. The rooster jumped on my arm and attacked me. My daughter had warned me to use the pitchfork to protect myself from the psycho rooster. But I managed to get out of the coop with only a wound on my arm, where the rooster dug a hole with its beak, and an urgent care and a tetanus shot, and I was ready to tell the story of this attack of the rooster. My kids asked me, if the rooster had assaulted my grandson, what would I have done? My answer was, I would have friggin' killed him. That's a Jewish mother. Or I believe that, but that too can be a Bub and Meissen.
Okay, so I am a Jewish mother. So what? Everybody longs to be one. Everyone really wants one, even if they don't admit it. Teasingly, my son tells me, "You're such a Jewish mother," as he watches my creations take shape in the kitchen, or when maybe I'm acting a little overbearing.
With two preschoolers, I was suddenly thrust into the heavy political changes of the 70s. So confusing. I just wanted them to have the world at their fingertips without hesitating, to have experiences in the world that would let them know everything is possible. Yet I really had no idea what I was doing.
Different foods for different holidays. Every Jew knows that. So why do the supermarkets always display matzah and borscht for every Jewish holiday? Hanukkah matzahs? I'm calling the manager. Who's the idiot behind this? Do I confuse Christmas with Easter? I know when Santa comes down the chimney and when to paint the eggs. Why do they think every Jewish holiday is Passover? Call the manager!
Okay, so I'm a Jewish mother, or maybe I'm not. I don't try to make my kids feel guilty, to get them to behave the way I want. Although I've made mistakes as a mother, some of which I'm aware of, and some of which I'm not, I've always done my best to accept both my sons the way they are and support them in living the best life that they can, even when it wasn't my dream.
Okay, so I am a Jewish mother, at least in some respects. I don't have children and I'm a strict vegetarian, so I wouldn't be caught dead pushing chicken soup on anyone, let alone make it for them. But we do have a cat. I don't call her Bubala, but I call her sweetie, sweetheart, or darling. Sometimes my husband will say, "What?" And I'll have to admit I'm talking to the cat. I reassure him he's my sweetie too.
An important value is family, love, loyalty, support, and celebrating holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries together. Even though we don't live in the same community as our children, staying in touch by using phone calls, text messages, and FaceTime, and getting together whenever we can, that's what makes this Jewish mother happy.
I picture the true Jewish mother as someone always offering food, love, and not so always welcome advice. That's the negative of the stereotype, the controlling, hovering version. But it's all just meant as a way of showing love. I don't know, perhaps a little of that has crept into my persona. I've certainly been known to give advice, but I do hope that the positive side of it, the generosity of heart, has crept in too. So, okay, I am a Jewish mother.
Being Jewish is what was given to me. No one can take that away from me. By understanding the past, I will be free at last. With the help of God, I know I will be strong. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being Jewish is awesome when I have a wonderful rabbi like you, Rabbi Jonathan. You're so inclusive, warm, and welcoming that one doesn't even have to be Jewish to experience your wonderfulness. My husband, Charlie, would attest to that. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being Jewish is a lifeline, a smell, a taste, a language, a way of walking in the world, or a life sentence. Being Jewish carries weight. Being Jewish is a life sentence or a lifeline. It's an immediate connection to a culture, a smell, a taste, a language, a way of walking, a path filled with potholes or integrity and wisdom, and a sense of fear, a promise of deliverance. If I live by Torah through the message it sets down, I'll have a life. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being Jewish was not a strong identity when I was growing up, except the awareness that I was a different religion from most of my classmates in elementary school. As an adult, my spiritual path became Sufi, Hindu, and Buddhist, although I later discovered that all of my teachers had been born as Jews. In 2013, I began attending Friday evening Shabbat services at the Woodstock Jewish congregation. And that was the beginning of my real involvement with Judaism. Now I value being a Jew, and I feel light and love in my heart as I sing along with you, Rabbi Jonathan, or listen to your words of wisdom. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being part of the WJC has so enriched my life. You, Rabbi Jonathan, the community of learning, sharing, and the ensuing joy. Your musical and spiritual sensibilities are singular, as are your beautiful guitar playing and chanting. I am transported. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Cuddling together on a big bed with our small baby, sometimes in the glow of candlelight, my husband would say the Hebrew blessing over the wine. Jeff said it was the only prayer he could remember from Hebrew school. And it was like that. We brought a patchwork of spirituality to our parenting. It was informal and a little primitive. Somewhere imprinted deep and tucked away, I believe my son knows this blessing well. He's 19 now and grown and off to college on the other side of the country. The last year at Hanukkah, I found myself in Zabar's with my sister, and I felt inspired. I found gifts to bring home, some belly locks, a jelly donut, and at Grand Central, a magnolia cupcake, my Hanukkah offerings to Jeff. He lights the candles. He asks me if I know what the 9th candle is called. I roll my eyes. Of course I know. It is the shamas. The candles glow. In our age of uncertainty, I think, in fact, Jewish tradition does hold us. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Some people get it right away. For me, it took 8,000 days to know that I was part of the synagogue. I'll take it with me everywhere, as long as I'm alive and breathing the air. Turning it, turning it, turning it over. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being Jewish is just letting my thoughts float away, watching the Hanukkah candles, the Shabbat candles, welcoming Shabbos through the space between the candles. Eli, Eli, Shelo Yigamer Leolam, Ahoveyayam, Rish Rush Shel HaMayim, Barak HaShamayim, Tiflat Adam, the sand and the sea and the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of my heart. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Rabbi Jonathan, you've given me a sense that Judaism is, above all else, a celebration, an appreciation of the gorgeous gift of life. Even when we're mourning a loss, we celebrate the gift of having known love. You've given me the courage to face the dark forces and events of the current day, yet to continue to feel hope. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
My soul longs to take the lessons of the past, understand the good that these lessons bring, and make me a more understanding and loving person. It doesn't do any good to bemoan what has happened and wish that things had been different. My soul knows that I am here to learn and not to feel sorry for myself. That's how I survive and thrive in an ever-changing world that does not conform with my personal wishes. Rabbi Jonathan, you have opened a path for me that I thought was closed. It was suddenly okay to be me, with my own form of Jewish expression. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
Being Jewish is a gift connecting me to my ancestors and providing me with great wisdom. My connection to Judaism has been a wonderful gift from my father. One of my fondest memories is of his kissing the mezuzah each time he entered our apartment. Being a part of the Woodstock Jewish congregation is giving me a community that I could worship with and pray with. And the gift of you and your teachings, Rabbi Jonathan. You have helped me and my family to connect with Judaism in a way I never thought was possible. I am amazed by the wisdom people share, both at services and at Torah study, enriching my life both spiritually and practically. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
My heart longs to reach liberation, enlightenment, where we can all breathe free from constrictions, where my heart is full, where we know with complete certainty we are all one. Here's an excerpt from a poem I wrote the day after Thanksgiving in 1991, thinking about Pesach, Passover. To liberation, we become free when we take the courage to let go, to trust in God, in the universe, to know that we can, we will, finding the strength inside that we had denied, letting go of us and them, good and bad, and simply dwelling in the grace of the self. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
My soul longs to be seen. The people at Eilat Chaim saw me when they asked me to lead a mishpacha group. My husband and family saw me when they realized how important it was for me to take the time away from them. You, Rabbi Jonathan, saw me when you asked me a long time ago why I wasn't going to rabbinical school. To be seen and appreciated for talents and gifts and abilities despite mistakes and flaws. That's the gift of life. Being a part of the Woodstock Jewish congregation has given me the opportunity to bless others, to grow in ways I never expected, to step up and be a leader. It's given me ways to serve, wonderful students, and time to slow down and know that's okay. All these are the gifts that you give. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
I came upon a synagogue where Rabbi Jonathan sang and he hit the chord. The love and the wisdom came right through me. And all the lessons, big and small, to understand, not just be understood, was the greatest lesson of all. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Thank you,
Rabbi Jonathan.
Thank you. I certainly was not expecting that, and I want you to know that I received it. Wow.
Mm.
That was magnificent. Thank you. All of it. Yeah. And there are the credits, everybody.